Everybody, Max here, and today we're going to be talking about the Nacelle Company's recently announced pre-orders for their Wave One Star Trek series. I This is my number one most anticipated line of this year. I cannot wait. I learned about the this line. It was announced back in the fall from the Nacelle Company. I happened upon an interview with the president of the Nacelle Company, Brian Volk-Weiss, and he's just talking about how he couldn't wait to make this line and how they got the license and the goal of it and the figures that he wants to make and everything. So they obviously make a lot of toys right now. Biker Mice from Mars probably being the most prominent. I'm not a fan of anything else that the Nacelle Company is making, but they do look good. They do look like they are quality. They do make quality products, so I'm excited about the Star Trek line. I had a few of the Playmates figures back in the day, but I they were limited in articulation and playability and that sort of thing, and they just kind of they just kind of looked muted in terms of their features. I mean, I know Cisco was Cisco and Picard was Picard, but they couldn't get in there and show wrinkles on a person's face and things like that. So that technology, that scale, it just kind of it's not as advanced as it is today. So the 112 scale Star Trek line, I'm all in. I don't think we've ever seen anything like that before, and I can't wait to see what else comes down the line. He wants to make at least 100 figures, and the goal is to try and make, at least to start with, make figures that there have never been figures made of. So apparently we've never had a Captain Sulu, which is hard to believe that Playmates never made a Captain Sulu, that they never made a Wayoon, that they never made Mirror Universe Archer. Maybe they didn't have the line when the license when Enterprise was on. I don't know. I'm surprised there's not a Jellicoe. Brian often talks about how there's like Salamander Tom Paris, but not a Captain Sulu. So it's kind of like, what in the world was Playmates thinking, making that character of Tom Paris, that version of Tom Paris, and not giving us Jellicoe? So anyway, that's his focus and everything. And so um, I he said way back when that there was an email that you could send emails to making requests for characters that you wanted to see made into figures. And so I did that about 6 months ago, and there's two characters that I would love to see. I don't know if they've ever been made before, maybe they have, but it was Captain Claw and Vixus. They were two Klingon officers from Star Trek 5, and I just thought their look was awesome. And I don't know if Playmates ever made one, but I definitely would love to see them in the 112 scale. And he actually responded back in about 3 weeks. So he actually did. He said he would do that in interviews, and he actually did. And he said that he had a love-hate relationship with Star Trek Five, but they were looking at all of the movies to see what they can mine for new figures. So hey, fingers crossed. But yeah, so go to the Nacelle Company, find that link, and send them emails if you haven't already. So here's the whole bundle. You can order all of that, $225 US. I like the box art. Window packaging looks good. Really cool accessories. There's the figure, Jellicoe. And I didn't order him, but I think I might now, because if we don't get a Picard in his standard uniform, we probably will get a Picard in something else. And I'm going to do a head swap so I can have a standard uniform Picard. So that may be why they included the fish tank and all of this artwork. And I mean, I know this is probably um, included because it's relevant to the storyline that he was in. Those two, I think it was called Chain of Command, season six, part one and two of season six. And I'm going to rewatch that here pretty soon. But yeah, I just remember him being a complete creep and getting into it with Riker and everything. So, but yeah, he's got the modern phaser, data pad, something Cardassian customs and policies, some artwork that kids made, and then 2, 4, 6, 8 hands. So this looks like a really solid figure. Looks like no boot cut, but we get a thigh cut, double jointed pinless knees and elbows. bicep swivel, and no butterfly joint, which I'm actually fine with, and no ab crunch. Um, I think he said that in a recent interview that fans actually told him he didn't like, they could you could vote on it, and people voted not to have one to break up. They didn't want it to break up the torso. So, but there is a waist swivel, so I think there will be that. And I don't know about the neck articulation on these, so I'm hoping that it's either a solid neck and a disc hinge, or or a ball hinge. I hope it's not neck and head attached, and the joint is down below the collar. I don't really care for that, but we shall see. But this looks like a really great rendition of, is it Ronnie Cox? Is that the actor's name? He was kind of like the perennial villain in so many TVs and TV shows and movies. He was in Stargate SG-1. He was in RoboCop. He's always played just the hard case villain, straight villain, or kind of antagonist of some hero. So anyway, so that's Captain Jellicoe. We have Captain Rachel Garrett, and she is my number two most wanted figure out of this line. As soon as I saw her, I'm like, yes, she is a figure that I'm surprised was never made. She certainly deserves it, even though she was only in one episode, Yesterday's Enterprise. It was one of the best episodes, one of my all-time favorite episodes, and so I'm glad that she's getting some love here. She comes with two interchangeable heads. Now this is a wounded one, and this is when she dies at the end. So I'm sorry, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it, it's over 30 years old. So that's on you if you haven't watched it yet. But I can't see this being on the Walmart toy shelves, so maybe we'll see them in the collector's section of Walmart, because I know I've seen the Sectars and the Biker Mice of Mars and the Robo whatever that they do. So the Nacelle verse, I've seen that displayed in Walmarts around town. So we have a regular, unblemished face and a wounded face. I would have preferred. I want to say in the episode, her uniform is scorched. It's dirty and everything. So I would have preferred something like that, like an interchangeable piece that has some damage to it. That would have been nice. But she comes with 2, 4, 6, 8 hands. Pretty cool phaser. And this we may get, looks like that may be the ankle rocker. So maybe there's some boot swivel right there, double jointed, and hopefully waist swivel. And maybe, I don't know, I guess this looks like it could be a fixed neck, and maybe we'll get like a ball joint or a hinge right there, so we get some neck articulation. So that would be good. Phaser, modern phaser, and communicator. So yep, definitely she was definitely on the list. And we have Tuvix. Excuse me, I am getting over a head cold. Tuvix, he was from an episode of Voyager, which was actually a very good episode. I really enjoyed that episode. I wasn't a huge Voyager fan, but I recently watched it all the way through, start to finish, for the first time. Actually, I was in college when Voyager was on, and I missed quite a few episodes. And but I do remember watching this one, and I have a much greater appreciation for the series now. And for some people, this guy may be a really key figure. This may be somebody that you've been really looking forward to. The face sculpt looks amazing. The uniform looks awesome. He looks a really good figure. And 2, 4, 6, 8 hands, tricorder phaser, and a carry case, and case for a flower of some sort. So maybe no boot swivel. I doubt there's enough of a swivel space. So we might not be getting much swivel in the lower leg. And that does not look like we would get much in terms of foot articulation either. So, um, but there went more for how can we make this look as much like the actor and the character on the show as we can. So I'm totally cool with that. So that's Tuvix. My number one is Captain Sulu. And this is from the Undiscovered Country. He was in an episode of Voyager, kind of a flashback. I think that was the name of the show. The name of the episode, Flashback. And where we find out that Tuvok was on board. He was assigned to the Excelsior during the Star Trek Six. So kind of a little retcon there. Brought back Sulu, and man, I really wish we had gotten a Sulu series. Enterprise I came to appreciate, but I would have loved to have seen a Sulu series after Voyager. Gosh, that just would have rocked. And so I'm really happy to be getting a Sulu figure. And he has two exchangeable, you can swap out the collar, the uniform piece, so it looks like it's open. Looks like a communicator, data pad, his tea cup and saucer, two different phasers, and 2, 4, 6 hands. So, and it looks like there might be some kind of, maybe on these uniforms, we get a little bit of an ankle rocker and or maybe a swivel there. Maybe that would be great. So, but yeah, looks pretty good. And I can't wait to get this guy in hand. And let's see. Oh, let's see what it says. Star Trek 6 phaser, Star Trek 2 phaser, Star Trek 6 communicator, Star Trek 2 communicator. Okay. And let's see, device on chest to adjust jacket open or closed. So it says coffee cup, coffee saucer. We all know that that's tea. He was drinking tea. So it says 8 interchangeable hands, but all we see is 2, 4, 6. So looks like somebody, and there's the 2, 4, 6, 7 in the. So that has 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So well, somebody's wrong. Somebody can't count. Can't count. So we have Valkyris, who this is a bit of a deep cut, unless, of course, you were Star Trek 3 is your favorite movie. I don't even remember her. Star Trek 3 is not my favorite. And so I'm surprised that this is a figure that they started with, but in Wave 1, but it looks fantastic. So she's Klingon, and they didn't. I mean, they're showing her in all of her glory. So, but the coolest thing about this is that it comes with the Genesis device. Like, I'm gonna have to rewatch it because I don't recall her having any connection to this at all. So I'm gonna, maybe I'm wrong, but she comes with 2, 4, 6, 8 hands. Looks like a Klingon communicator, disruptor, batleth, and I don't even know if the batleth was even shown until like Next Generation. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to rewatch Star Trek 3. And but the control panel and the actual device itself, that's almost worth it. Worth $28, $29 to me, just to get that. So I think they knew what they were doing. It's like, hey, let's make this big accessory because we know nobody's going to know her and hardly anybody's going to want to buy her. But they're probably want to go. They're going to want to buy the mass device, the Genesis device. So and it looks really cool. Yeah, this looks like a digital render, and I think they had an unpainted version of it at the New York um, ZoloCon. So so yeah, um, that's crazy. It comes with that. And then we have Mirror Universe Archer. This guy's a definite for me. Definitely ordered him, and he looks really good. Double jointed, pinless arms and knees, thigh swivel. Maybe we'll get a boot swivel. Maybe that's what that is. That line. I'm hoping. And looks like a seam for an ankle rocker in the boot, like it's hidden. So that looks really cool. And 2, 4, 6, 8 hands, a dagger, tricorder, communicator. I think this might be Sorry and Brandy. He was celebrating a lot with the Mirror Universe version of Hoshi. And we get an OG phaser, which that's awesome. I wonder if the Type 1 detaches. That would be awesome. And then the Fisher Price Enterprise phaser. I always thought these kind of like Fisher Price, like my first phaser. Never quite liked the look of them, but yeah, but I'm glad it comes with it, so that's great. So he looks great, with the exception of his hair and I think maybe his forehead. He almost, yes, it looks like Scott Bakula, but at the same time, I'm seeing Huey Lewis, the news, Huey Lewis in the news here. So yeah, I can't wait to see what he looks like in hand in real life. But he looks good. It just I'm seeing Huey Lewis there too. Wayoon, now he's probably my number three. I loved Wayoon from Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine is my all-time favorite TV show, as well as favorite Star Trek show. And I'm surprised that he's never had his own figure. Again, Salamander Tom Paris gets his own figure, but not Wayoon. So he looks great. And he's got the kind of stern, cold Wayoon face, and then the mirthful, you know, obsequious fawning face of Wayoon. So he was a great character on Deep Space Nine, and he comes with a case for the Catcher Cell White, three tubes, um, the viewfinder, and 2468 hands. And then this is a deep cut, a tiny half of a tiny pizza, and then chopsticks on a pepperoni on a chopstick. So I saw, when I initially saw this, I thought, what in the world? What episode was that from? And then it kind of dawned on me, and I had to look it up. He went on a mission with Odo and sampled all of the food, and he starts eating it. He shows him eating a pepperoni on a chopstick, and then the pizza is nearby. So, bit of a deep cut in terms of accessories. He never used a weapon, so but it would have been cool to see him with some kind of Jim Hadar weapon. That would have been kind of cool. Instead, we get pizza and chopsticks. So I don't see me displaying this much with him unless we get some kind of diorama, the interior of a runabout or something. So I don't know. This is kind of like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. I'm surprised they made it, but it is what it is. I would have preferred like a Jim Hadar disruptor or something like that. That would have been kind of cool, even though he never really used it. But that kind of speaks to the attention to detail. So that's nice. And then lastly, we have Peter Preston from Wrath of Khan. He's Scotty's nephew who tragically loses his life. And he even comes with a battle damaged head, which is kind of messed up. And I would have preferred also an interchangeable chest plate or something for the burn marks, that sort of thing. That would have been kind of cool. So, but he comes with a mask of some sort, gas mask, oxygen mask, uh, phaser from Star Trek Two, some kind of engineering tools, and then 246 hands, no human hands, just these big um, uniform hands. So he kind of looks like. I always thought this looked like a spacesuit. I'd hate for this to be the standard. He looks like he's meant to be going outside in space. It looks like a spacesuit, and I'd hate to have to wear this all day long in the engine room. So poor guy. He's never got his own figure, but now he does. So justice is served. So that's Peter Preston, midshipman. And that is wave one of these guys. Let me know what you think. Are you guys excited about this as I am? Um, let me know. I This is my most anticipated figure line of the year. I'm probably going to start cutting back on some things that I'm collecting and focusing more on. I'm going to stick with classified, but you're going to start seeing videos of me in October. As soon as these come in, I'm going to start recording. So who knows? Maybe between now and then, I'll just go ahead and order all of them. So just so I have the whole wave. And I am kind of curious. Back here in the lower left, we have a red-haired woman. I'm assuming it's a woman. It's probably just a repaint of Rachel Garrett here. But did is this an Easter egg? Was there an episode of Next Generation where Doctor Crusher was in this um, movie era uniform? I don't recall, but let me know in the comments if you do recognize it. Or is there a background character? Is there a red-haired character from that era that is in one of the movies that maybe she's in a scene or two or a background or something? Um, it's not Rand. I don't think she had blonde hair. So, but the hair style reminds me of like Yeoman Rand from when she was in some of the I think she was in on the Excelsior during Star Trek Six. And then I think also in that episode of Voyager. So let me know. Speculate with me as I speculate. So anyway, Nacelle Company, Star Trek Wave One coming out October 2025 pre-orders are live now. Let me know if you ordered any or all of these, and I will talk to you guys next time.